And welcome back. It's episode 2 of Talkin' Track. This week, Will and I are going to be recapping the Phoenix Raceway Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series race on Sunday. Chase Briscoe wins at the first short track of the season. Will, what did you think?
Oh, dude, that was a great race. The Phoenix track was kind of an interesting track. It's the first mile track of the year, and it was kind of a hard to pass track. You can kind of only pass one car at a time. The track itself is 55 feet wide. Other than we had the 150-foot dog leg, which Kyle Busch off the start took advantage of that real quick, and he gained 3 positions that way. But it was very useful in the restarts. I'll tell you that right now. So yeah, it was an interesting track.
Those restarts were awesome, dude. I'm telling you, when they start fanning out 4 and 5 wide on a short track, that gets exciting, and I'm impressed that nobody wrecked on any of the restarts. There was some contact, but there was no wrecks. That was awesome. The next gen car held up pretty doggone well at the first short track. I was impressed.
Yeah, that's the cars didn't bottom out. They're kind of worried about cars bottoming out because the next gen cars are a lot lower to the ground, but it didn't seem to stop any of them. Heck, I think there's a period where we got 7 wide on one of them
Yeah,
on one of the restarts. But yeah, it was about 4 or 5 wide average on the restarts, but that was it was kind of interesting
yeah, it was
because
awesome.
that's not yeah, I mean, that's the nice thing about the one's a nice thing about the next gen cars, but with all the current tire issues we having, I'm kind of thinking any race this year is anybody's game, really. Just whoever has the right car, the right equipment, the fastest pits, and seems like some teams are figuring their stuff out because adjusting tire pressure has been a real pain in the neck this year. Sometimes you have too less pressure or too much pressure. It causes you to be a little too tight in the corners, and most common one is a lot of looseness where the rear end of the driver's car keeps coming out, and swaying like that, and that kind of gets them seconds down. But let's see if they can kind of figure this out. Maybe halfway into the year, we'll have to see what happens there.
Yeah, it was really good. You mentioned they were worried about the cars bottoming out. We saw a little bit of that in practice and qualifying. I believe it was Joey Logano who actually did bottom out his car. It was either Joey Logano or Kyle Busch in practice where you could actually see the smoke coming out from the bottom of the car because coming off that dog leg where they went way down on the apron, the smoke would start coming out. And I mean, Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, and Danica Patrick all knew that they had bottomed the car out. So it was kind of interesting to see that not be as much of a factor in the race. And you mentioned anybody's race. That's awesome. Another thing about you said the next gen car is it basically made every race anybody's race. The parody of it is awesome. The playing field is totally leveled. We saw Chase Briscoe get his first win. Austin Cindric did it back at Daytona, and we see Ross Chastain. He's run top 5 2 weeks in a row. Tyler Reddick,
Oh yeah.
he did really well again. He did it at Auto Club before his accident there. But these smaller teams, even Austin Dillon, he ran in the top 10 all day until he got taken out there at the end. It was an accident. We'll get a little more into that one later, but these smaller teams are competing with the big guys, and it's really cool to see. I wouldn't call Stuart Haas a small team, but Chase Briscoe getting his first win, that's got to count for something. So that's I think this season is shaping up to be really, really awesome. And we've seen, great racing through the first 4 for sure.
Oh yeah, and that's thing I like to touch through. The Phoenix pit stop is kind of a grab hole for most of them because there's usually a lot of speeding penalties we have on there, and because Blaney won the pole, and Blaney was looking really good, and yeah, Blaney was looking really well there. I thought he was gonna have it all day. But yeah, but he and Hamlin got a speeding penalty very early into the race, causing them to be started in the back. And also like to touch on starting in the back was Kyle Larson for kind of I think an illegal wedge adjustment either in the last race or the qualifying or practice. I'd like to get to him in a second, but yeah, he started in the back, but he really caught up there really quick. But we had William Byron winning the first stage, and I thought he'd do the way he was racing really well. So yeah, but Willie B got the first stage win on that one. So that was interesting to see there.
Yeah, on that first stage, it really did look like it was going to be all Ryan Blaney and William Byron. They both seemed like the fastest two cars on the track. You mentioned Kyle Larson coming from the back. He made his way up in a freaking hurry. It was impressive to see him weave his way through the field like he's done a handful of times this year already. I believe it was Auto Club. He started dead last because of an illegal adjustment after practice, and he won that race just simply because he's able to weave his way through the field. So, yeah, I thought that his run was impressive until his motor failed him. I believe you said it was a valve spring.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. Go back to him going up in the pack real fast. That's kind of challenging at this track, being a very hard track to pass on. So yeah, he was gaining a lot of ground quick, and it was kind of scary to watch. But yeah, I think the track. I think it was during stage 2. He was having an engine malfunction. One of his valve springs ended up breaking, and fortunate enough, he went to the pit, and I thought they were going to fix it. They didn't really say what was wrong at the time, but they got his hood up real fast. And I could tell by the way his pit crew, they just kind of slowly stood up, and they're just kind of like, all right, yeah, this guy is not going to be able to finish this race. So,
She's
yeah,
terminal.
yeah, and he was running a different paint scheme. Yeah, it's terminal. He was running a different paint scheme. I liked his paint scheme this weekend. It was like, I don't know, it was like a hot pinkish red
Yeah, that
Valvoline.
Valvoline, that was a nice looking ride. It's kind of interesting to see him. I noticed you've got your blue number 5 shirt on there. Yeah. Normally
It's all
runs
heavy.
that HendrickCars.com Chevrolet this week in the Valvoline Chevrolet. That's a good looking car, and I hope to see some more. I'm looking forward to his throwback for Darlington. I'm wondering if he'll maybe throw it back to like a Terry Labonte scheme for Darlington, but we'll have to see when that time comes.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, he had to be out. He didn't sustain any damage. I mean, that car driving down pit road, it looked very mint. It was a very fantastic looking car. But yeah, he blew a valve spring. I'm gonna touch up on that subject for a minute. They with the new transmissions now, believe it's the 6-speed instead of the 4H pattern.
Yep.
So it allows them now to downshift into the corners, and they think that maybe when he downshift, that he hit a lot of the red line on the RPM gauge, that causing that engine to be overworked. But the weird thing is, all the Hendricks guys are running pretty much the same exact engine, and that's what Chase Elliott does the same exact thing, and his car performed very well, other than kind of some tire air pressure adjustments that kind of went very haywire on that. But yeah, he was doing the same, and his car did very well. Maybe just a kind of a fluke in Larson's engine, but yeah, that's what the new transmissions is, that they're able to downshift a little bit more than the 4-speed, because back in the 4H pattern, basically it's just fourth gear all the way.
Right.
That's how you pit. But yeah, I don't know what if that's the first issue for me on the or not the new engines, but the new transmissions. Maybe that has a factor in it. But yeah, all the other Hendricks guys ran pretty good, so maybe it's just a fluke this time around.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, they didn't run as well as everyone kind of expected them to. I'm going to try and get to that one a little later because I had a difficult time deciding who to give the pacifier award to this week. There wasn't really any meltdowns on track. So
Oh no.
I'll be going over my new rule for the pacifier award when we get to it. But yeah, the Hendrick cars, they went for the West Coast sweep. It looked like they might get one with William Byron. He had a pretty good car there in stage 1. Eventually just kind of faded there. I think he finished 18th or something. Um, they probably disappointing. And like you said, Kyle Larson, he was running a really good race. He was in the top 10 basically all day until his engine gave out. And it was weird because, you know, you mentioned the engine perhaps getting overworked with all the downshifting, but it seemed like everybody was doing that. It looked like when they showed
Yeah.
Harvick's in-car camera, you'd see him click back the stick to downshift when he went into turn 3 and then immediately upshift when he got out of turn 4.
Yeah, and that's yeah, the new transmission, instead of the H pattern, you got first, second, then third and fourth. Now I believe it's forward for gear 1, then it's just back. Like you just
Yep.
your shifter back, and yeah, and it's as easy, just a quick forward snap and you're downshifting. But yeah, that's kind of a new. Maybe that's, I don't know, because that can downshifting like that. Your RPM gauge goes a little higher, and if you hit red, you're kind of running hot there. But I probably everybody's got the same exact transmission and stuff, and same 6-speed pattern. It's kind of the NASCAR, you know, just is the way they have their transmissions done, and that's just you can't run the 4H pattern really anymore because that's just a next gen thing. But
Right.
yeah, I mean everybody else was doing that downshifting. You saw Suarez's cam. I think it was but on the restarts though. He's kind of shifting through a few gears there, and everybody's doing it. But we haven't had any real engine problems other than I think who had the like gas pump problems. Like
Oh,
stuff like
Biffle.
that. But Biffle, yeah, had a fuel pump problem, but that's not
Yeah.
typically like valves and push rods and pistons in an engine. But yeah, Larson blew that valve, and it just wasn't really easily repairable on the track like that. So he had to take it back into the garage. But everybody else, the Daytona, the Pennzoil, the Auto Club, Auto Club, then Pennzoil, but everybody not really too many like actual engine problems. Other
Yeah.
than
So
Kurt Busch overheated actually was it last week.
I'm trying to remember that if it was Kurt Busch. Huh. Anyway.
Yeah, yeah, but the new problem with the next gen car is they couldn't take off the front part of it there because there's like supposedly like a little steel plate in front of the front bumper, so they just had to throw a bunch of water in his reservoir to cool his engine down
Oh,
because they couldn't
I
get
think I
down
do
to the main.
remember that now that you say it.
I think he did finish though, but his car was running really hot, but they couldn't get to where they wanted to because there's now like I think a metal plate, like another plate underneath bumper there, which is not very easy access really quick on pit road. But I think they just dumped a bunch of water in there, and he actually finished the race, which is pretty good there. So quick fixes like that. But yeah, Larson's car was beyond repaired. You can't fix a valve in the middle of a race like that with just a lug nut gun. So yeah, it's interesting. So
Yeah, he just didn't have enough time to do it. Well, we've gotten through the Chevys. How about those Ford Mustangs this weekend? Well, those guys were fast.
yeah, that's incredible. It's not all the Penske's. Everybody's got their own some different companies with Fords, but Blaney was doing fantastic, but he got the speeding penalty, but and Hamlin, but Hamlin drives a Chevy. But yeah, we got
Toyota.
oh yeah, Toyota. Logano in 8th with 22 Ford. You got Kevin Harvick in 6th with the Ford, Ryan Blaney in 4th with the Ford, and Chase Briscoe in his Ford. And Fords have not made much noise. The Daytona, they're scary good, but we talked about something they did with the tires, but apparently that wasn't technically illegal, but they did make modifications to their tires, and no, everybody else didn't. I don't know if that was a causing factor for them to win, but I haven't seen anything about faulty car parts. So I think so apparently the Fords like the shorter tracks.
Yeah, message received. I believe it was last week. I asked where the Fords were because they weren't at the front. They got my message evidently, and they sent Chase Briscoe to victory lane. Very, very dominant performance. There was the three cars that I thought were the best on the whole track were Briscoe. I guess I'll do it in order. It was Blaney, Harvick, and then Briscoe. I didn't think Briscoe had the best car. I just thought he was in the right place at the right time to win.
Yeah, dude, that final stage though, he was like a whole second in front of everybody else. Then Elliot was kind of trying to play catch up with him most of the day, but I believe that Elliot was having some tire issues and he hit the wall again. He's
Yeah,
been
just
hitting the
barely
wall.
clipped it.
Yeah, nothing like severely like damaging, but he just like swipes the wall, and I think he did that too again, which he started falling back a lot of positions, like scary amount of positions. I mean, he finished 11th, which isn't terrible, but he was running second most of the day, so yeah. I mean, I like this car too, the UniFirst with like the mint chip green
Yeah,
color
that's a
on there.
pretty good
That was
looking
a pretty
car.
good car. Yeah, and then Bowman with his little puppy dog car, that was a good one. But
Bowman the
yeah, he didn't
showman.
do Bowman Showman. Yeah, he didn't do too bad. But yeah, the Fords have been really fantastic. Maybe they're the car to beat on the short tracks. I don't know, because like I said, all depends if how you have your car set up. And it seems like Briscoe and Blaney had the correct whatever adjustments they made for the short track. They didn't seem too loose. There's a couple of times where their rear end kind of slid out from under them just a hair. I think that's what Harvick did too. Harvick was having some tire issues, I believe, during the second stage or after the first stage pit. took his tire pressure down in his right rear a little bit, and that was not helping a little bit. He was hanging in the top 10-ish there, but every corner he was just swerving out, and
Mhm.
he was actually catching up pretty good there. Then they changed the tire back on the next caution. I don't know which one, if it was Christopher Bell or Truex. I think they got a pit time there. I'd like to go back to Christopher Bell and Martin Truex here in a second. But yeah, the Fords have done fantastic. I believe they had it right this race.
Absolutely.
I don't want to say, it's kind of hard to say, but I think Blaney would have been really good if he didn't get that speeding penalty off.
He would have absolutely been hard to catch. He led the most laps yesterday. I think he led 143 of the 312 they ran.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
correct.
he was the best car, but the mistakes on pit road keep costing him.
Yeah, but I actually want to go back to the Phoenix Raceway track. That pit road has been notorious for a lot of speeding penalties. So this ain't gonna be no surprise that we're gonna have a lot of
Right.
speeding today. So I wasn't too surprised, but I guess I'd rather have that early.
Right.
But like I think Larson did the best job of actually playing catch up from the rear. Like Hamlin and Blaney, they were slowly catching up throughout of stage 2 a little bit, but yeah, and they didn't do too bad. Blaney finishing 4th, and then Hamlin. Where's Hamlin at? Hamlin finished 13th, which
Yeah, he
ain't
kind of
too
fell
bad.
off after that speeding penalty. That's
Yeah,
kind
he
of what
kind of did.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to get into now. I know you mentioned you want to talk about Christopher Bell and Martin Truex. We talked
Boy.
about the Chevys, we talked about the Fords. That leaves us with just the Toyotas. Where are the Toyotas?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. Where the heck is the Toyotas at? But I believe Truex has a good Toyota car. Like he finished the first 2 poles at the Daytona 500. He did pretty good. I think he did get put in the back because he had that was it the Pennzoil 400? He had that technical interference where his tire rolled into
Oh,
Chris
yeah,
Busch's
lost the tire.
stall. Yeah, they lost the tire, so he had to start from the back, and I think he finished like 11th or something like that race. I wasn't too sure on that one, but yeah, he ended up blowing a tire. No, I think they said they put like a resin down on top of the track, like a glue or something,
Yep.
and it was doing great for the first stage, but in the second stage, it was starting to eat away at the driver's tires, and Martin blew a front right tire. And the big problem was the steering locked up. Because I think he destroyed his front quarter panel there, and he drove almost straight into the wall, and it was bad. They had, of course, with the new tires, everything blew, and they had to get the tow truck in, and yeah, he
Yeah,
was out from there. He wasn't too happy on that one.
that was a hard lick he took. And you can't really blame that one on him because,
No.
it's the same deal as when Tyler Reddick blew a tire at Fontana and he was the best car there. He ended up losing because of a blown tire. Same thing with Christopher Bell. He blew a tire and I don't think
Yeah,
he did it at Vegas too. So I can't really blame that one on Christopher Bell either.
no, but I want to see him win, not win a race, but I want to see him finish the race without blowing a tire. But he's a young rookie yet; he's still got a lot of time to learn. Yeah, he did the same. I think he gave her a little too much throttle coming out of that corner. That's with those shorter tracks, it's a sharper turn. It's a sharper turn there, and it was just eating at the driver's front right tires. That's what a lot of the pros were cautious about. But Truex has been a really good driver for a long time. Maybe just didn't know about it. But yeah, his tire blew, and Christopher Bell spun out. But Christopher Bell did not sustain much damage. He just blew a tire. It didn't touch his car very much. The quarter panels were intact. He just limped it back to pit road, and they slapped on a new tire, and he was able to actually finish the race. But he didn't finish very well. He finished 26, but
All right.
then we have the Busch brothers. Kyle's
They
been doing pretty.
they did pretty darn good this weekend.
Yeah, Kyle finishing 7th there, but yeah, he's kind of let it. I think what was it the Pennzoil kind of let his feelings get in the way there.
Yeah, with his comments about Alex Bowman. If you didn't see
Yeah,
that, check out our last episode. I explained it. Go ahead and for a laugh, go check that one out. I was more impressed with Kyle's brother yesterday, Kurt
Kurt.
stealing a top 5.
Yeah, that was impressive. Like he's just kind of always hangs in the back, and he never crashes much. I don't think he gets a little too upset as much as Kyle does, because Kyle's a ticking time bomb at this point. But yeah, but like what we talked about, Kurt had the like the engine
Yep.
overheating, and I believe they his the aluminum lug nut was welded onto his hub, and they had a heck of a time trying to get that off, causing him a lot of positions. Yeah, that's a bad thing about the aluminum lugs, are getting screwed onto a steel hub, and if they get a little hot, they weld themselves to the steel hub, and it's just trying to throw some brake cleaner on that one to get it to come off. But yeah, he's actually finished. I think he's finished every race this year, but a top 5 at the Phoenix Raceway, that was incredible.
Yeah, I
And
texted you last night and I told you I didn't know who to give the cold beer award to. And I said, well, maybe Kurt Busch. He finished in the top 5. He didn't run inside the top 15 all night or all
no.
afternoon. So for him to steal a top 5, and what had happened, it was on that final round of pit stops where the leaders didn't pit. There was a handful of guys that did. I know that Daniel Suarez did for sure. And I just kind of I was watching it with my dad, and I just kind of said, "What the hell are they doing? Why are they pitting?" And he goes, "Just watch. They'll gain a few spots. Just watch." And sure enough, they did. Kurt Busch ended up in the top 5. I was very impressed with Kurt Busch stealing a top 5.
Oh yeah, and that's yeah, Briscoe pitted, and I think he had like the fastest pit time too there. Like he was his pit team was like, it was the last pit of the he's kind of like the last pit for the final green flag there, and they did the best. Chase Elliott was doing pretty good. He had a slower pit. I think it
Mm.
costed him 4 positions after that, and yeah, he was having a great day there. But he finished 11th. That wasn't terrible, but he was playing catch the leader in second most of the day. Even he was trying to catch Blaney before they even got the speeding penalty, and then Briscoe kind of slid in that spot, and I go, all right. Then another problem too was the lap cars were kind of giving him trouble right now. He's trying
Mm-hmm.
to catch that the clean air, but when there's the lap cars, he was catching all that dirty air, and it was slowing him down. So and Briscoe was doing fantastic through those lap cars, and he was just gone at that point. It's just, you might as well say adios.
That's right. And talking about Chase Briscoe, how about we get into my cold beer award? I told you that I thought it was going to be Kurt Busch. I changed my mind. Here's a beer for first time winner Chase Briscoe. To even consider anybody else was kind of stupid. Chase Briscoe ran a great race, picking up his first win of the season, first win of his career. Obviously, it's a big one. So, Chase Briscoe, congratulations. You are Phoenix Raceway's Cold Beer Award winner.
And don't forget his pit crew.
Yeah, I can't forget about everybody on that team. Stewart-Haas Racing has kind of been on a bit of a downhill slant. Their last win before yesterday was Eric Almirola last July at Loudon, and he was dominant in that one. So, for Stewart-Haas to get their first win of 2022 and it not be Kevin Harvick, their veteran driver, I think Chase Briscoe may be a constant in that 14 car for a long time. And with Kevin Harvick, he's getting up there in age. We know Eric Almirola is retiring at the end of this year. So there's going to be 2 rides open at Stewart-Haas Racing here, probably within the next 3 or 4 years. So it's going to be really interesting to see who Stewart-Haas Racing goes after to fill the void of Eric Almirola and Kevin Harvick.
Yeah, I'd actually like to go back to Kevin Harvick for a minute. He was his top 10 finishes. I want to. If I had a cold, the cold beer award is only for one contestant, but I would give he would be
Oh,
my
feel
second
free to
pick.
give one of yours. I gave mine to one. You can give yours to Harvick if you'd like.
Sure, but I don't have any beer on me right now. But just imagine a cold beer. I'd like to give my cold beer award to Happy Harvick for getting his top 10 finish, tying with Richard Petty and Dale Sr. for top 10 finishes. I believe he was currently tied with Jimmy Johnson with 17, but then he got his another top 10 finish. So he's tied with Petty and Dale Sr. But he wasn't too actually worried about breaking that record. He said he just wanted to win. So yeah, but that's just a record he ended up winning. So yeah, that's my cold beer award to Happy Harvick there.
I think that one's pretty well deserved.
I think so.
18 straight top 10s at Phoenix Raceway. It's pretty safe to call Kevin Harvick the king of Phoenix, man. 9 wins, 18 straight top 10s. That's pretty impressive numbers.
And when you get up there with Dale Senior, I always say Dale was the legend of NASCAR. So if you can tie something with Senior and Petty, that's pretty good right there. So that's
That's
my Cold
elite
Beer Award
company.
right. That is. So who would we give the pacifier award to? This one was a hard one because everybody was pretty mellow in
This
this
one was
race,
hard.
especially.
This one was harder for me to pick than the cold beer award winner. There wasn't really any crybabies this week. So what I
Yeah,
did
that's kind
was I went ahead and I tweaked the rules. This
of.
week the pacifier award is going to go to the guy who was probably the most sad after this race. So my pacifier award winner is Ricky Hendrick, the team owner for Hendrick Motorsports. He had 0 drivers finish in the top 10 this week. I'm sure he was
Get it
not
right
too
there.
happy.
No, he wasn't. Oh, that hurts, man. We got Hendrick Motorsports on here right now. Yeah, dude, that was terrible. Well, I mean, we had Elliott up there. I think, geez, but during the race we had I think 5 of Hendrick's cars in the front before they all started going away. They all started going away. Larson didn't have any choice on that one, but yeah, Chase Elliott kind of, I don't know, didn't have a fast pit in that final one, so that costed him 4 positions. So he could have finished maybe top 10 at least, but yeah, well, what do you do? Just one race though.
Right. There's no doubt in my mind that Hendrick Motorsports is still the most elite team in NASCAR. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Through 4 races, they have 2 wins, one from Larson and one from Bowman. No doubt in my mind that Elliott picks one up here soon. William Byron's probably going to get another one. So there's no doubt that Hendrick Motorsports is the best team in NASCAR right now. But this week it just wasn't their week.
Yeah, I just want to go through here. Yeah, I'd like to maybe don't hold me accountable on this one, but maybe the Fords are the ones to beat on the 1 mile track. But next week I think we got a 1.5 mile track coming up, which usually the Hendricks boys do pretty well on the 1.5 miles. So we'll have to see what next week brings, and if Larson can complete a race with but he hasn't, I can't really blame him for an engine malfunction. It doesn't happen very often, but he's a very, very dominant in the 1.5 mile tracks. And he was doing dominant in the 1 mile track, before his engine gave. But I'm going to keep a close eye on the 1 mile tracks and see if the Fords are really dominant in that one, because it seems like they were really dominant in the 1 mile track. So
Yeah.
that's something to watch for. So, but we got a 1.5 miles next week. So maybe the Hendricks boys will make a comeback. We're just going to have to wait and see for that one.
Yeah, and that's what I'm going to lead into my next question for you. Any predictions for Atlanta Motor Speedway? Who do you got winning next week?
Ooh, that's a toughie right there. I'm gonna have to throw Larson into the mix there because he's good at the 1.5 miles. But Ross the boss, if he has another great week, he finished second place and he's had an incredible last 2 weeks with Stenhouse Racing there, and Suarez in ninth. I'm not gonna put too much faith in Suarez there, but I'm gonna say Ross the boss top 5 definitely there. Um, yeah, Larson top 5 maybe. If Reddick has done really well. Even in that that is the Auto Club or something where he blew a tire. He was leading really well there, so you got to keep an eye on Reddick there. So
Yeah,
what do you?
I 100% agree with you that Kyle Larson's going to be a threat. 1.5 mile tracks are his bread and butter. We
Oh
used to
yeah.
call Martin Truex Jr. Mr. 1.5 miles. Well, I think he's got to scoot over because Kyle Larson is Mr. 1.5 miles now. So he's definitely going to be one to watch at Atlanta. But there's 2 more that I'm going to throw out. And one of them is the hometown hero, Chase Elliott, the Atlanta native, Awesome Bill's son. Chase Elliott, he's got to get one of them right here soon, doesn't he? I mean, Atlanta's the home
Well,
track.
it doesn't come down to the driver for this. It comes down to the tires. I'm gonna say this all year long. It's the tires. I'm having the correct tire pressure and setup for that because he all year long so far. He's been having nothing but tire troubles. He's just too loose in and out of the corners. You're losing lap time on that because you're sliding. You're losing a lot of speed. So hopefully in his hometown he could get everything correct, and I think he's going to be the animal to beat there. It seems like Larson did have him and Elliott were having lots of trouble. I think the Auto Club or the Pennzoil, they were getting loose in there, and they were like in 6th and 9th place back then. They were falling back, but hopefully, yeah, he can get his kinks worked out. I think he's going to be the one to beat there. Just kind of hope he gets his stuff figured out. Well,
As
it's
long
not
as
technically him. Yeah,
yeah,
that's my approach.
as long as he has
Going
his
back.
bearings straight, I 100% think that Chase Elliott could be a factor at Atlanta. But there's one more name. We talked about him a little bit earlier. Kurt Busch. I think
Oh
Kurt
man,
Busch might be one to watch at Atlanta. He won there last year with his teammate Ross Chastain blocking Kyle Busch. Chastain was a lap down at the time, and he threw a
oh,
block on Kyle Busch so he wouldn't be able to catch Kurt. So Kurt Busch won
real.
that race at Atlanta. It was an awesome finish. Kyle was not happy, but Kurt was.
Oh, Kyle. Yeah, that'd have been a pacifier of the award right there. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. I'm thinking like the pacifier award's gonna go to Kyle every day of the week, but he was pretty mellow. But yeah, Kurt's the one to watch. Yeah, but he snuck up in the 5th place. He's kind of hiding back there all day of the week, and he's just kind of snuck his way up. But like I said, all these caution flags and faster pit stops and everybody wrecking these days. It could be anybody's game. That's what I'm going to say with every race. It's anybody's game though. Speeding penalties, how fast you can make it back. Larson's like I think the top dog for if he gets last place. It's no trouble for him other than the engine malfunction. But yeah, he was on the Phoenix Raceway. It's really hard to pass people. But yeah, he's the animal to beat there. But if Elliott can get his stuff figured out, it's not technically Elliott if he stops swiping the wall. But if his mechanics and everything can get his gear worked out fine, I think he's got a really hot shot there. But I'm not gonna say for sure because he's been having some troubles with that all year long. So, but I'm gonna say Ross the Boss is top 5 definitely.
I like that. I like the way Trackhouse has been performing this year. They're running really gutsy. Earlier, before the Phoenix race, Ross had told the media that Trackhouse Racing they're not underdogs. He believes that they are winners. And I think both of them get wins sometime this year. Probably Ross before Suarez, but
Yeah,
we saw Daniel run in the top 5, even lead for, a split second at Auto Club. So I think both of them could definitely pull wins out this year.
yeah, it's I'm gonna say Ross before Suarez, but
Yeah.
Suarez top 10. He was hiding back in like 25th there in the beginning for a while.
Hey,
So
he overcame a speeding penalty there late. He ended up having to chase down the field, and he did it. He ended up moving from like 23rd to 9th in a matter of I don't know 80 laps.
yeah, that was incredible. So that shows that I believe they've got their cars down. Like they were talking about tire problems, tire pressures, and everything, and engines. But Ross has been running, and Suarez, they seem like they've been running really, really solid. So those are two guys we're gonna have to watch out for. Actually, not watch out. I'm starting to become a big fan of the Amigo clan, and Ross the Boss. Like I don't hate them. I love these guys. Suarez was in the booth for the Xfinity series, and he was just a cat in there. It was fantastic. I like that comment. He goes, so Daniel, what do you do when someone's not so amigo to you? What do you call them not your amigos? He goes, well, they're just not my amigos. Oh,
They're enemigos. He actually
they're
just released a
enemies.
shirt. If you're not amigos, then you're enemigos. And you
Well,
can
that
bet
works
I'll be
too.
buying one of those shirts here pretty soon.
Yeah, I might be along with you there, but yeah, dude, you gotta watch though. You gotta watch Ross and Suarez there. I think they got their stuff figured out. Even mile and a half track. Daytona, they were all right. That was a 2.5 mile track, and that was just opening of the year, so it was kind of anybody's game there. But I'm starting to think they got their stuff figured out, and Larson as well. But he had a few tire adjustments to make in Pennzoil, but yeah, he got that one. But yeah, the Suarez and Chastain, we're gonna have to watch out for them boys. They're coming in hot this year, so hopefully they can keep it up. But yeah, like I said, I hope Chase Elliott can get his hometown win there. But like I said, it all depends on the tires.
I
So who do
agree
you
with
think's
you.
gonna take the Atlanta Speedway win for that one?
I'm gonna go with Chase, man. The hometown hero. He's got to get one eventually. He's made so much contact with the wall this year. I think he's got to get this one at Atlanta. And I tell you what, if he doesn't get it at Atlanta, he'll be fine because we got a road course after Atlanta, baby. Chase
Oh man,
dominates
that's
the
his
road
bread and butter.
courses.
That's his bread and butter.
100%.
Yeah, and I'm actually impressed with Chris Buescher's top 10 finish there. He's been kind of quiet this year, but a top 10 finish for Buescher, yeah, that was pretty good. He even beat Elliott there, but Elliott, like I said, Elliott's. I'm not sure if it's the driver issue, but a lot of it's mechanical issues. But like I said, I think Chastain and Suarez have got their stuff figured out, and Logano's kind of got his stuff figured out, but the Fords have been kind of silent this year, except for I'm gonna go put money on the 1 mile tracks they might be dominant on. So that's what I'm gonna say that. But mile and a half, I think, are the Hendricks boys' is bread and butter right there, and Trackhouse team. So maybe I was gonna be one of them guys, probably gonna win Atlanta for sure. So that's what I'm going with.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap this one up? Well,
final thoughts. Let's hope we have a lot of good Kyle Busch activity next week, because I want to hand out another pacifier award there.
I agree with you, man.
Yeah, final thought, like we just, we've been talking a lot about Elliott, but I want to see Elliott get his hometown win. But like I said, it all varies on mechanical fixes and tire problems. But yeah, let's going back to 1.5 miles next week, and let's hope there's a lot of good racing. And no, crashes are fun, but you don't want anybody to get seriously hurt though. But see if I'm going to be curious to see if this time Christopher Bell can finish a race. I don't know why I'm so like hardcore on this, but I want to, he's a young rookie yet. I just want to see him finish a race this year without blowing his tire. So let's see if he finishes a race. I don't even care if he gets dead last. Let's see if he can go without busting his tire. So now, what are your thoughts for next week? So,
well, this week I don't think I'm going to have to mute the TV and turn on the radio to listen to the play-by-play. Jeff Gordon's in the booth, baby.
Oh yeah, we finally get away from Danica Patrick for a little bit. Yeah, just
praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Yeah, it's all the Indy Day talks. Like it's just not doing anything for me on information in the race. So yeah, we get Jeff Gordon back. That's gonna be fantastic. Former 24 DuPont car from Hendricks Motorsports. This guy was a legend. Him and Dale Sr.'s feud was like the most legendary in history until we lost Dale in 2001. A very sad day, but yeah, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna look forward to this race I forgot about Gordon coming to the press box next week. Yeah, this is gonna be a great race. This is gonna be like probably one of my favorite weeks other than Daytona. The Pennzoil is one of my favorite races too, but yeah, Atlanta Speedway is gonna be a good one there. So
I think you're right. I think you're right, man. Well, thank you all for watching and listening. We might be back Thursday with just kind of a BS talk about NASCAR. We might just pick a topic. We'll see how we're feeling throughout the week here, but that's going to wrap up this episode of Talking Track. And until next time, I'm Drew Hansen with Will Fox. See you later.
Adios, amigos.